every day.
Yeah.
Every day. From the beginning to this is my last semester.
Yeah.
So way from the beginning to now, I always learn everything new. Everything, like using some of the instruments in the lab, it was new to me. Some of the software schools to use to clone classmates, it was all new. So every time, every program I encounter, being my lab assistant job, I'm learning every day I'm learning something new. So people hear the name University of Michigan-Flint, and they look down on us. They feel like, Flint, not compared to Ann Arbor. But I just want to say that there's nothing different between Ann Arbor and Flint. The faculty that go teach students through the program are the same faculty, the same level of education that is being employed in Ann Arbor. And the more merit about this year is that it's a smaller campus. You're able to grow, you are seen. Because you're having any difficulties, you can approach the professor or the faculty person and it's able to willing to assist you to go in any direction of future that you want to go. So the name Flint should not dissuade people from coming here, but they should have an open mind. It's a community that we have over here, and they should come in with an open mind, with a sense of growth, to learn and to also meet people. Number one is going to Dr. Joseph Susik. So he's more like a guidance to me. So when I came in, so I changed my program. I came with a different program, public administration. Then I wanted to change to biology because I'm a science major. I have a first degree in pharmacy. So I was directed to him because my line of ambition was like more direct around his expertise. So he has been the one mentoring me what program, what subject to take in individual semester to be able to align to what I want to do in the future. And he was patient with me because I was more like naive, don't know what I'm about. So he was able to was patient with me, directed me what to do. Even if I asked any silly question, he responded to all my silly questions to the call. So, and I'll say him. Then the second one will be Dr. Heather Dawson. He's an amazing mother. Her level of patience is like top notch. During one of my molecular courses that I did, we had a chance to change the amino acid in furin. Furin is known to be a protein that leads to cancer. So we want to find out if you're able to change this amino acid, can it prevent the falling of its structure and its function, thereby preventing cancer progression. So, and that was I did it with my project partner Emily, and through that we were able to discover an amazing result. We had so it's supposed to go through three parameters to conclude that yes, the change of the amino acid will be able to indeed prevent the furin structure from forming, therefore can also avoid cancer progression. But we only passed through one of the parameters, and the other two was the opposite. So that was a bit amazing to get one being going how you aim it, and the other two going against how you want to aim it. So, and with that result, we were able to present at the student research conference that happened last year in Michigan-Flint. So that was one thing I did that I'm still amused about it, and I hope my other previous or the new one that comes before me can want to take out that particular amino acid project and do more extensive to see if they can really get different results or the same results of what we had.
Sounds like an important project.
It is. It's all about cancer. You know, cancer is still progressing. It's still been one of the leading cause of death that we have faced worldwide, not only in the US. It's everywhere. So if we can come up with something that not only drug wise, but to be like amino acid change in the protein that causes the cancer progression, that will go a very long way in progressing life for people to stay with their family as well. So it is a very important project. Everywhere on campus. I have been everywhere on campus. Everyone knows me on campus. So I'm from a warm climate. So in the winter, I like being on the 5th floor because it's very warm. The library is not really my to-go place to go. So either that place or one of the classrooms in the 3rd floor. In all my programs that I've offered so far at UM-Flint, the most repetitive skill that I end up obtaining from everyone is about interpersonal relationship, teamwork. Because As I said, my lab is, we work in team, group of 2, group of 3, able to collaborate together to produce a presentation. And also, so based on that, you end up learning how to collaborate with people, how to communicate. And I'm from a different continent. So if I'm able to work with a US nationality person who can understand my accent, can understand each other, correlate together to work together to bring out a perfect work output, that alone says a lot about teamwork, about collaboration, about interpersonal relationship. And some can also be friends for life. So my teammate Emily, we worked throughout our time because we love how we were vibing between each other. We share each other food as well. Aside the classroom, we go extend to share each other food. So that is how the program has taught me throughout my stay on campus. So it's not only about academics, but I'm able to have friends and also have this skills of interpersonal relationship with people as well. I would say it is risky, it is scary to leave your life behind and come here, but the risk is worth it. As long as you are willing to learn, you have an open mindset, no mediocrity, you don't feel so entitled. When you put all this aside and you come here with an open mindset, willing to learn, willing to grow, Flint is a very good place for you. You have a very close community relationship sense. Flint is a very good place to be, a very good place to grow in any angle of life that you want to go. The students are also very good to learn about what is happening beyond their environment. So I would advise them to choose Flint. I will come to Flint anytime for any program without thinking twice. Because I've built that communication, that connection with students on campus. Not only students, with faculty, with deans. One thing that strikes me, the deans too also are down to earth. I organize events that deans come to my event. So that is how connecting they want to be with their students, not only at the top level. So please apply to UM-Flint and come experience the lab and the family that I've also experienced on campus.
There's so many strengths in that program, like it's really hard to narrow down because I graduated in December with my bachelor's in molecular biology and biotechnology, and I decided to continue for my master's because I love the biology program so much. But there is like this insane sense of, I guess, like family, community inside of the program. There's a lot of like interpersonal relationships. Like they really care about you as a person, you as a student, your personal success, and in supporting you in any way that they can to meet your goals. No matter, if those are short-term goals or long-term goals. And even aside from that, there's an insane amount of resources for students, not just in the Master's in Biology program, but for undergraduates as well. And I've taken advantage of a lot of those resources. And I will say, like, in most of the departments, in the resources I have taken advantage of, everybody is so kind and understanding, and really just overall, anybody here on the faculty or staff wants to do what they can to, support your goals and meeting those. I love both of my advisors. My advisors are Dr. Chen and Dr. Susik in the biology department. And then like overall for my graduate program, Dr. Dawson is my advisor. And Dr. Chen and Dr. Susik I've known for a little bit longer, for a few years. I've taken classes with both of them. But even Dr. Dawson, that I've only known for a couple of months, like she went above and beyond to really help me get into the master's program because it's something that I was so driven to do. She did everything in her power, to make that happen for me. But my favorite professors, I can't narrow it down to one, but my favorite professors are Dr. Chen and Dr. Susik, of course. They're really great mentors. I couldn't ask for better mentors in my graduate studies. So overall, like, long term, I want to go into research. I want to do exactly what I'm doing now, but maybe involving more patients, because we only work with one cell. We work with multiple cell lines. Right now, we're only working with one cell line for our cancer research. And we're researching triple negative breast cancer, just to make that clear. But I would like to work with more patients as well, and maybe make a little bit of a more direct impact to finding therapeutic targets for triple negative breast cancer. But overall, like, I'm very happy, working in the research lab that I'm working in, and I feel like it's the perfect stepping stone to what I want to do in research as a career. The MSB extension is a really fantastic place to hang out. There's, vending machines for snacks and drinks. I especially like MSB on the 3rd floor. Like, there's a couple of common areas there, and they're relatively quiet. I feel like here people really respect a sense of like relaxation and allowing people to, study or do their own thing. So yeah, the common areas on the 3rd floor in MSB are probably my favorite places to go for studying or having lunch, or even studying with friends as well. Honestly, probably every day. I learned so much about like sentence structure and grammar, and things that you might not think are super important, in higher education, but like really brings you back to like middle school English, where you're like, the structure of a sentence really matters and how you're able to convey information, and you want a reader to be able to listen to you. So, specifically for what I'm doing in my thesis, I want to make sure that regardless of somebody's knowledge on triple negative breast cancer or 3D cell culture, or anything that I'm working with, I want to make sure that it's readable and clear. And in lab as well, I learn something new every day. We talk about a variety of different proteins and their function, and in research there's a lot of trial and tribulation, and in that you learn so much. Like, in the moment it's very tumultuous, almost like can be very, annoying sometimes when things don't work out the way that you planned it. But if you come back to it a couple days later, you realize that maybe the negative research or the result you didn't expect tells you more than what your hypothesis might have. I feel like a lot of people have this misconception that U of M Ann Arbor is a much better campus than U of M-Flint, and now they may have more resources, newer buildings, better technology, whatever it may be. But I really feel like U of M-Flint would be the better campus for one reason only, and that's because of the class sizes. The class sizes are so much smaller, and that kind of goes back to one of my other answers as well, is that you're able to kind of establish relationships with professors because of that. You don't have classes of 200 students. Your professors are actually able to learn your names. My professors even know my pets' names. So you're really able to get that sense of community here in a way that you may not be able to at U of M Ann Arbor. And now, of course, that campus is fantastic, for other things, but I really think U of M-Flint sets itself apart in the fact that there's such a great sense of community and smaller class sizes, and just a lot of support here. I say just do it. I was really kind of back and forth on whether I wanted to continue my education after my bachelor's, but really, if it's something that'll aid you in reaching your goals, whether that be short-term or long-term, it's really something that I believe anybody should do. If you want to get more of an education, even if it's not necessarily getting a degree, but even taking a few classes just to boost your own self-confidence or knowledge in a particular topic, I think self-reflection as well as self-improvement is really important, for growth long-term and short-term, and being able to really have a good footing in your career. And of course that's not applicable for everybody, but I think it's really important to just go for your dreams, make it happen, and have that drive. If you're considering it, just do it, which is what I did.
I think from what I've experienced so far is the class sizes. I've had a lot of more one-on-one opportunity with professors than I did in undergrad specifically. And so I'm unsure what the size is of other programs, but specifically in biology, I'm able to talk with professors more one-on-one. I don't have to wait in line to go to their office hours. I can talk to them about exam prep, questions I had on the homework and stuff without needing to wait, or come back on a separate day or schedule a Zoom call for the weekend, because I can just go one-on-one, which is something I didn't experience entirely in undergrad. I normally have to wait in a line, or all of their office hours would be taken, and I have to go on the weekends, like I said, or schedule a Zoom call. So I think that one-on-one opportunity definitely gives you, first of all, more hands-on experience, like in the labs that I've had last semester and this semester so far, but also just a better chance to get to know your professors, ask for a letter of rec if you need it for a professional program after this, which is something I didn't get to experience as much in undergrad. Last semester I took comparative anatomy, which I thought would just be a lecture, but the lab included a dissection. And so something that I wanted to do in undergrad but didn't have time for in terms of credits was a dissection lab. And so this one I signed up for thinking it was just lecture and lab, not knowing the lab was a dissection. And so I want to go into medicine, so it kind of worked out well, but walking on day one and they tell us we're going to dissect a snake, cat, frog, and I'm just like pigeon, turtle, and I'm just like, oh yeah, like I guess that works, but I just didn't expect that to be something going into signing up for the class that I was going to do. But so, you walk in on day one thinking it'll be a lecture, and the lab might be like, looking at pictures or something, not a physical hands-on dissection of animals that you've seen in everyday life, but it gives you an exact opportunity to study the anatomy that you got from lecture and see it like with your own two eyes in lab. A lot more hands-on, a lot more kind of diving into, physical aspects of an animal, as opposed to like, we're gonna lecture about it and you're gonna hear about it. And yeah, it was definitely one of the craziest, but also one of the coolest experiences I had. Probably one of the favorite classes I've taken so far. So I'm applying to medical school in the spring here. It comes up in May. The first one would definitely be the opportunity for letters of recommendation. Like I said, that one-on-one opportunity within the biology program definitely gives you a more kind of tailored experience to getting to know professors, getting to ask for that letter of rec, getting the hands-on experience in labs. Another specific would be like both last semester and this semester I've had hands-on labs that give me real-world experience that I can put on a CV. And one of them specifically was like last semester I took cellular molecular biology. That gave me experience with 2D, 3D cell culture, with staining cells, with Western blots and protein assays that I put on my resume, and that actually helped me land an internship for the summer. So graduation comes up in May. I'll have an internship lined up for the summer because of the hands-on experience was applicable to the lab that they're running over on the west side of Michigan. And so those exact hands-on experiences kind of prepared me for that. And then as well as giving me the opportunity, like I said, for letters of rec, which are definitely required for medical school. So getting to know professors better, as opposed to like I had an online class and I never met them. I never went to Zoom hours, that kind of thing. The class was 80 people, so they never really got to know me, which is some of the things I had in undergrad, but a lot more specified, smaller classes that helped me get to know professors better and set me up for both that application, but as well as real life job experiences, CV, experiences, things you put on a resume. Yeah, I go to the library a lot, both because I tend to need a lot of help from the writing center. A lot of the classes that we have are either writing requirements or just have enough essays where I might need to go talk to somebody. And so the writing center is something I've utilized a lot. So going to the library, both as well for that help, but also just because it's a quiet space. I've had headshots on campus, so I got to see a different floor. I've gotten to the writing center, that's a different floor. I've gone, studying on my own time, just looking for a quiet corner, and that's a different kind of environment from all at home or at a lecture hall or, at my dorm. And so I think it's just the change of scenery. I go to the library more than probably anywhere else on campus. The accommodations that professors allow, I think compared to undergrad, is a lot more accommodating, simply because they understand that people might be going back to school, they might have been taking a break. Like I took 2 gap years from my undergrad going into my master's, and I think they're more accommodating than I expected them to be in terms of excuses why you might be late to class, why you might need to miss a lecture. People have families, kids, jobs that they might be working part-time. And so like for some of my online classes, people are like, oh, I've got a shift that starts at 5, class gets out at 4:50, can I leave at 4:30 to get to my shift at 5? And professors were like, yeah, that makes sense, sure, thanks for telling me ahead of time. Versus I think in undergrad, it was more, you're here till 4:50, you gotta be here till 4:50, if you get to work late, you get to work late. But I think, yeah, they're just more understanding, more accommodating of people's life circumstances, kind of histories, backgrounds, age differences, profile differences that people might need to leave early, come late, skip lecture, have to go pick up kids, life happens. And so I think they're more understanding that life happens. And I don't know if that, I guess that did surprise me, just because I didn't expect professors to be so understanding that life happens. It's kind of just not what I think about when I think of like hard, rigorous, master's programs or PhD programs, but they've been very accommodating and understanding of, even myself, like I don't have a wife or kids, but I think they're very understanding when I say like, I've got a research lab that starts at this time. Do you mind if I leave a little bit early to attend it so that I can get there on time for that? And they're very understanding of that, which I think is surprising. Part of it was I've never taken a public health class. Last semester I took epidemiology, and pretty much everything was unused to what I've learned so far in like the sciences. So a lot of it that I've learned, you know, is chemistry, biochemistry, physics kind of thing, where it's more like data, numbers, application of reactions and, you know, real life circumstances. And then going into epidemiology and public health, it was more like, how can you take the past and apply it to potential future? And a good example of that was COVID, where she was understanding how, or the professor was explaining how we take what we knew and we tried to apply it and it didn't work out. But now we take what we know from COVID and we can apply it to a future, you know, public health outbreak. And that was very different for me in terms of understanding like a history and a location. Like we learned about different types of outbreaks in different locations, and some of them weren't specifically in Michigan, but it might have been an outbreak in Texas or an outbreak in another country or even, you know, continent. And I think that was a lot different for me as opposed to like, you get numbers, you memorize numbers, you apply it to a formula, you get an answer. And so it was not necessarily harder to learn, but it was definitely different in terms of how my brain's been wired from kind of undergrad and where my strong suits are. But it was still interesting, just in a different way. You know, it was a lot less straight up formulas and a lot more like application of history to the future, or, you know, different countries' applications of how they applied it to how we could apply it. I would say, first of all, apply early. I applied a little late, and so it was hard for me to try and initially find a research lab. But if you're trying to do something that you know will require assistance, get in touch with somebody early. And the people that I did get in touch with when I was able to apply were super accommodating in terms of housing, trying to apply for scholarships, financial aid, like I said, getting into a research lab were super accommodating, but I think it would have been easier if I applied earlier. So if you're aware that UM-Flint might be on your radar, you might want to apply as early as you think it might be on your radar, just to give yourself the time to move. I only had a week to move from west side of Michigan over to here. And so I had to pack up all my stuff, drive over here, ask my parents to get time off so they can move some stuff over here. And I think if I had a month or 2 months, then I would definitely, you know, have been able to do it on my own over a couple trips instead of being a little rushed for time. So I think the sooner you know about it, the better. So you should definitely apply sooner. And so I think that a lot of the kind of sense of community that UM-Flint provides is a lot more beneficial to the students themselves. Being potentially smaller, like the RAs had more events that you would be able to, you know, meet other students at. Like I said, class size one-on-one is more applicable to hands-on experience, getting to know both students, peers, as well as professors. So I like that the kind of community itself in terms of students, but also the physical campus is smaller, more walkable, more digestible in terms of somebody coming over here for the first time. You know, I didn't go here for undergrad, and so coming over here to a bigger city than what I was used to was more applicable, and it kind of made me feel more at home because it was more, like I said, walkable and digestible as opposed to what I was used to. So I'm doing research with Dr. Chen in her breast cancer lab. That's what, like I said, last semester was in cell and molecular biology that gave me the hands-on experience of 2D, 3D cell culture, immunofluorescence, which is staining and looking at it under a microscope, as well as running some Western blots like protein assays and experiments. And I've done that last semester. I'm currently doing that this semester, and that was the experiences that got me the internship that's coming up for this summer that I'm able to put on my CV. So definitely beneficial, something I'd recommend you get in early. You know, like I said, the more experiences you can get, the better. And so being able to start it last semester, even though I was a non-thesis student, definitely set me up for success, both this semester as well as for the summer. Definitely applicable. It's something I want to do in medicine as well, and some of the research that I want to do in medical school. And so, like I said, getting started early is definitely the way to go. And so it did a good job preparing me for the future of what I want to do.